Welcome to Behind the Lights, where we dissect the awkward, the disastrous, and the truly shocking moments that unfold when the cameras stop rolling. We are here to talk about love, and perhaps more accurately, the expensive, dramatic, and often baffling way celebrities choose to formalize it. The year 2025 was supposed to be the year that permanently killed the celebrity fairy tale. It began with a brutal and relentless wave of high-profile splits and shock divorces. Everywhere you looked, long-standing couples were calling it quits. We watched one major relationship after another dissolve, leading us, the skeptical audience, to believe that love in Hollywood, or wherever the glitterati reside, was simply a cynical, temporary contract. The narrative was set. Romance is dead, and the only certainty is the prenuptial agreement. But then the wedding started, and when they hit, they didn't just counter the cynicism, they shattered it with drama, extravagance, and sometimes total secrecy. In a year where everything felt fractured, 5 couples managed to cut through the noise, with unions so significant, so unexpected, or so staggeringly opulent that they redefined what a celebrity wedding means in the mid-2020s. We saw unions that were quiet whispers of commitment and others that were shouted from the rooftops of historic Venetian palaces. Our journey starts with a quiet, decade-long commitment, and it will build the suspense until we reach the ultimate moment of celebrity matrimony, a union of a pop princess and a polarizing producer. But before we even get there, we have to acknowledge the spectacle that set the tone for the entire wedding season. The absolute, undeniable visual evidence that money can buy history. We are, of course, talking about Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez, whose Venetian mega wedding wasn't just a party. It was a geopolitical event, a sheer display of staggering financial power, and a testament to modern celebrity opulence. It was the wedding that cost more than most small nations' GDP, and its sheer drama serves as our ultimate starting gun. Prepare yourself. We are counting down the biggest, most shocking, and most romantic celebrity weddings that define the landscape of 2025. This is the top 5 shocking celebrity weddings that define 2025. Top 5. Leoni and Daly. At the 5th spot on our list, we find the quiet satisfaction of a love story that simply refused to be rushed. This spot is reserved for a couple who spent years portraying the perfect, powerful partnership on screen, only to wait nearly a decade after their show wrapped before saying "I do" in real life. We are talking about Leoni and Daly. For those who followed the political drama Madam Secretary from 2014 to 2019, Leoni's Elizabeth McCord and Daly's Henry McCord were the epitome of a balanced, intelligent, and deeply supportive married couple. Their on-screen chemistry was palpable, a foundation of the show's success, and it was a poorly kept secret in Hollywood that this chemistry had bled into reality. The two had been romantically linked since 2014, making their relationship an impressive 11 years strong by the time they walked down the aisle. In a world obsessed with public display, their July 2025 marriage was the antithesis of the mega wedding machine. There were no helicopters, no glossy magazine exclusives, and crucially, no forced drama. Instead, Leoni and Daly chose an intimate, low-key ceremony in New York, surrounded by only a handful of family and the closest friends. The shock here isn't the coupling itself, which has been known for years, but the timing and the execution. After years of major public roles, both actors have deliberately cultivated a low-profile life. Their decision to finally marry after all this time, and to do it so privately, was a gentle yet firm statement that not every successful Hollywood relationship needs to be a commodity. It was a commitment that bypassed the need for approval or validation from the press, proving that for some, the most awkward moment is not the scandal, but the massive public fail. They successfully avoided by keeping the moment small and personal. The marriage of Leoni and Daly sits on our list as a much-needed breath of fresh air. A quiet "I do" after a long, deliberate courtship, reminding us that sometimes the most dramatic thing a star can do is simply live their life on their own terms. It's a foundational love story, but the heat is about to be turned up significantly as we move to our number 4 spot. Top 4. Hailee Steinfeld and Josh Allen. Moving to our number 4 spot, we find the convergence of Hollywood star power and NFL athleticism, a union so unexpected by the public that its confirmation in May 2025 sent a brief, powerful ripple of surprise across the media landscape. We are talking about the stunning, yet incredibly private, marriage of actress Hailee Steinfeld and Buffalo Bills quarterback Josh Allen. The backstory here is crucial to understanding the shock factor. While both Steinfeld and Allen are massive stars in their respective fields, they are notoriously guarded about their personal lives. Their romance, which began in earnest in mid-2023, was marked by strategic silence. There were no joint red carpets, no gushing social media posts, and very few confirmed sightings. They navigated the high-pressure world of celebrity dating with an almost clinical level of discretion, leading many to speculate if they were even truly serious. This strategy of extreme privacy is what elevates their wedding onto our list. Following a late 2024 engagement that was barely acknowledged, the couple chose to get married in May 2025, a beautiful, secluded ceremony in Santa Barbara. The details were scarce, surfacing only days after the event, confirming they had already quietly exchanged vows. The decision to shun the massive, publicity-driven wedding contrasts sharply with the demands of their careers. Steinfeld, an Oscar-nominated actress and musician, and Allen, one of the highest-paid and most visible athletes in the NFL, could have easily sold their wedding rights for millions and staged a media circus. Instead, they orchestrated a highly efficient, high-security event that protected their intimacy. This wedding represents the successful execution of the Hollywood NFL power play without the accompanying media chaos. It was an exercise in control, signaling that for this specific power couple, their union was about commitment to each other, not commitment to content generation. It avoids the typical awkward moments seen when celebrity couples attempt to monetize every milestone, like that plagued other sports entertainment pairings. In the midst of 2025 social media frenzy, Steinfeld and Allen proved that you can be at the absolute peak of fame and still prioritize your personal life. Their marriage was a statement that some stories are just for them. But while Steinfeld and Allen chose quiet discretion, our number 3 couple embraced the theatrical, pushing the boundaries of what a modern, stylish celebrity wedding looks like. Top 3. Charli XCX and George Daniel. Our countdown shifts gears dramatically at the number 3 spot, moving from the quiet elegance of Santa Barbara to the edgy, high-fashion world of pop royalty. Here, we find the electric union of hyperpop icon Charli XCX and George Daniel, the drummer for the indie pop sensation, the 1975. This was not just a wedding, it was a cultural moment, celebrated not once but twice. Charli XCX and George Daniel's relationship began in the most creatively intense way possible, through collaboration. They spent years working on music together, culminating in a partnership that transitioned seamlessly from the studio to their private lives. Their engagement was announced in November 2024, a highly anticipated event given their shared artistic, boundary-pushing sensibilities. The shock factor of their July 2025 wedding came from its unique, 2-part structure, shattering traditional celebrity wedding norms. The first ceremony was a minimalist, official affair in London, a simple, elegant commitment that handled the legalities. But the real drama and visual spectacle unfolded during their second celebration, a destination wedding in Sicily. This Sicilian celebration was a high-concept affair, blending British indie aesthetics with classic Italian romance. Charli XCX, known for her bold fashion choices and genre-defying music, brought her entire vision to the event. It was a stylish, intimate, and exclusive affair that felt less like a celebrity wedding and more like a high-end music video, perfectly reflective of their artistic identities. This dual ceremony approach speaks volumes about modern celebrity culture. Charli XCX and George Daniel were able to compartmentalize. The first ceremony was about the commitment, and the second was about the celebration and the aesthetic. It allowed them to manage both the personal requirement of marriage and the public expectation of a stunning, shareable event, successfully navigating what could have been a social media fail. The fusion of their two distinct musical worlds, Charli's glossy, futuristic pop and George's critically acclaimed alternative rock, made their union feel like the most stylish and unexpected supergroup marriage of the year. However, even the most stylish pop star wedding pales in comparison to the sheer financial force of our number 2 couple, where every single detail screamed unlimited budget. TOP2, Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez. We have arrived at the ultimate showcase of sheer, unadulterated opulence. At the number 2 spot is the wedding that wasn't just reported on, It was audited by the global media for its staggering extravagance. We are, of course, talking about the marriage of Amazon founder Jeff Bezos and broadcast journalist Lauren Sanchez, whose Venetian ceremony set a new, almost unreachable benchmark for billionaire weddings. The narrative of Bezos and Sanchez has been one of high-stakes transition since their relationship went public in 2019, shortly after Bezos' divorce. Their engagement, featuring a $2.5 million diamond ring and a yacht celebration, was merely the prologue. The wedding, which took place in June 2025 on the private island of San Giorgio Maggiore in Venice, Italy, was the main event, a multi-day spectacle that dominated headlines for a week. The details of this wedding are almost impossible to overstate. The costs associated with securing an entire Venetian island, flying in an A-list crowd including Oprah Winfrey and Tom Brady, and the custom, over-the-top fashion choices easily pushed this event into the tens of millions of dollars. Sanchez's custom Dolce & Gabbana gown alone was reported to be a masterpiece of Italian haute couture. The shocking element here is not that a billionaire spent a massive sum on his wedding, that is expected, but the unapologetic public display of that wealth in a time of global economic sensitivity. The entire event was a masterclass in controlled media access and visual dominance, projecting a powerful, undeniable image of success and romance. It avoided the because, frankly, when you are that wealthy, the scale itself becomes the story. The expense was the point. This wedding was a strategic, loud statement. It signaled that their relationship was cemented, legitimate, and backed by the force of one of the world's largest fortunes. It blurred the lines between private ceremony and public spectacle, turning a marriage into a globally watched piece of performance art. The drama was built entirely on scale, the biggest boat, the biggest island, the biggest guest list. However, even the billion-dollar spectacle of Bezos and Sanchez couldn't dethrone our number one choice. Because while money can buy opulence, it cannot buy the kind of media saturation, cultural conversation, and sheer shock generated by the union of our final couple. Top 1. Selena Gomez and Blanco. Finally, we reach the apex of our list, the wedding that was the ultimate undisputed conversation starter of 2025, topping all others in terms of emotional impact, cultural significance, and absolute surprise. The marriage of pop princess Selena Gomez and music producer Blanco. The initial news of this relationship in late 2023 was met not with cheers, but with a collective, skeptical sigh from the internet. Blanco, despite his prolific work with major artists, has an eccentric, sometimes abrasive, public persona, and he was often contrasted with Gomez's previous high-profile, universally loved partners. The relationship was labeled awkward and ill-advised by segments of the media and her fans. Gomez's steadfast defense of Blanco only amplified the scrutiny, turning their entire courtship into a masterclass in fighting public perception. This history is why the 27th of September 2025 wedding was the most shocking of the year. It wasn't just a wedding. It was the final, emphatic, and joyous victory lap for a relationship that the world had doubted every step of the way. The event itself was an A-list whirlwind. Hosted at a private estate, the guest list read like a who's who of the entertainment industry, confirming the sheer depth of their combined connections. Crucially, the presence of figures like Taylor Swift and Ed Sheeran, both known friends of the couple, turned the event into a global social media moment, with the hashtag 9.2725 confirming the date and cementing the union. The shock here is multi-layered. First, it was the definitive proof that the couple, who weathered relentless criticism, were serious about their commitment. Second, it was the symbolic transition for Gomez herself, leaving behind the narrative of her past celebrity relationships and stepping fully into a new, self-defined partnership. This marriage defied the where critics and fans relentlessly nitpicked the relationship. Selena Gomez and Blanco's wedding took the #1 spot because it was the most emotionally resonant union of the year. It proved that in the chaotic, often toxic celebrity ecosystem, two people can find an authentic, lasting connection, even when the rest of the world is betting against them. It was a cultural shockwave that perfectly encapsulated the theme of unexpected love in 2025. From the quiet, mature commitment of Leoni and Daly to the multi-million-dollar statement made by Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez, and finally to the triumphant, culture-shifting union of Selena Gomez and Blanco. The weddings of 2025 offered a powerful counter-narrative to the year's pervasive cynicism. What we learned this year is that celebrity love is no longer one-size-fits-all. It exists on a spectrum, from the utmost discretion exemplified by Hailee Steinfeld and Josh Allen, to the high-concept artistry of Charli XCX and George Daniel. These five couples, through their unique journeys to the altar, remind us that the most compelling love stories are the ones that endure scrutiny, redefine expectations, and ultimately, prioritize the private commitment over the public spectacle, though a little spectacle certainly helps in getting the attention. The drama, the awkward moments, and the failures are always under a microscope. But 2025 proved that the power of a genuine, headline-making commitment can easily trump the breakup narrative. Which of these billion-dollar vows do you think will stand the test of time? Let us know in the comments below. If you want more deep dives into the scandals and successes that unfold behind the lights, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We will see you in the next investigation.